Okay. All right, we're here with another episode with Kyle and Donald Goforth. They run up in Oklahoma, and I'll hand it over to them, and they can talk to you about their racing journey and what all's going on with them.
All right. Well, I started racing with Kyle's dad, my cousin. His name was Rick. We raced out at Oklahoma City Fairgrounds on the half mile. We ran a pro stock for a long time till about 2001, and then we switched to modifieds. That was the first time we ran a modified. I think it was 2001.
2001 was the first year in the modified.
Yeah. So we started out with a Terry Castings metric car. We ran it. Of course, his dad was hardcore Chevrolet, so we ran Chevrolets, and we ran that metric car for a few years.
Yeah, he had it. Well, got it in 01. I started racing in 05, and it was my first car, so it was hand me down to me in 05, and then I got another hand me down car in 2006. And then in 07, I actually got a new car. So I ran 3 different chassis for my first 3 years.
They were all dirt works,
yeah,
with the exception of the first one. The Castings car was a metric car. Then we had the blue DWA Chrome Molly car. It was a dirt works, and that's the one that Kyle eventually got. And then his dad got a DW9, and then we transitioned to DW11s.
Yeah.
And so
I guess we ran Oklahoma City though, all the way till pretty much the year before they closed. So we ran the State Fair Speedway all the way up until 2008. Yeah, we took a year off in 08. We dug it out and went and ran Winter Nationals, and then 09 we went and ran a full season. Dad quit racing that year, and we went down to Meeker and won a championship down there in 09. And
it's our home track in Meeker, Oklahoma. It's called Red Dirt Raceway. Me and another friend, buddy of ours, we won the championship in 08 down there with a DW11 modified, and Kyle won it in 09. And then after that, it was kind of a hit and miss from the racing deal.
Dad had kind of got out of racing. We just kind of hit and miss raced a few years after that. And my dad passed away in 2014. And 2015, we decided to hit it hard again. So we had 2 modifieds at the time, and we dug them both out and decided which one was the best one to keep. And we sold the other and put that money into it, and we took off racing again in 2015.
And so we still got the car. There it is.
Yeah, we ran. Yeah, it was 4-link modifieds what we ran it as from the get-go.
Yeah.
And I guess we ran it for 15, 16, 17, and 18.
Yeah. Then we sold it.
We sold it, got out of the modified class was just really expensive.
Yeah.
And it was kind of dying out around here. A couple tracks quit running.
Transition to the Dodge.
I said we ran that. So
we ran the modified, I guess, all the way up to 2018.
Yeah.
And it was just dying out around here. Tracks were dropping the modified class, and it was honestly just getting too expensive for us to try to keep up with it.
Yeah, it was just me and him.
Yeah, it was just me and him at this time doing the whole deal. So,
and then he sent me a message with a picture of a Dodge Sport Mod engine for sale at WCH in Midlothian, Texas. Mm-hmm. And the guy had done a video comparison with a Chevrolet on horsepower on YouTube. And he was wanting to sell it, and so it was just a joke. He sent it to me, but before we knew it, I said, "Hey, we're going down there to buy that Dodge, and it's up to you to find a chassis to put it in." So then he did some swapping with a 406 Chevrolet and got the Southern Sport Mod. It was a 2010 Gould's chassis.
Yeah.
And then we began the process of trying to put it in there.
He's always been a Dodge guy, so I sent it as a joke. Like, here's the IMCA Sport Mod Legal 360, and I sent it to him like, oh, look at this. You don't see this very much. I want to say it was 3 or 4 days later, we were making a road trip to Texas.
Yeah.
So we came back.
Yeah. So we.
And so he's pretty much been the motor guy.
Yeah. I grew up behind Shady Nook Chrysler in Oklahoma City, which is a Chrysler salvage yard. And so I had always kind of been a Chrysler guy. You know, my first car was a Plymouth Valiant. I've owned a bunch of Chryslers. But anyway, So we got the engine, we got it. He gives me a call and he says, "This damn thing won't fit. The water pump's too long and the radiator won't fit." And he was just a little frustrated. But I told him, I said, "Well, I'm gonna make it fit." I said, "If we got to notch the cross member out," and that's what we did. They notched it out.
Yeah.
They plated it back in, and we were able to get the radiator in it. And there was we had to buy some stuff. As you know, the initial cost of buying some of that Mopar stuff is expensive. But
pulleys, just everything added up. I feel like we almost got in a little deep at first, thinking, golly, this is turned into a headache.
Yeah, but it worked itself out.
Yeah.
We got it running, and it was about July or June, something that we made it out to the track with it. Started on the back of the heat, dead last, and we had tucked the lead, and we were about to win it, and went to the white flag, and that MSD distributor quit.
Yeah.
And so,
it was funny too, because one of the guys that we passed in the heat race was one of the really fast local guys there, and we drove around him and pulled away from him.
Yeah, it was,
and that it was the car quit on the last lap. We got pushed in, and it was just funny because we had a couple people up there like, "What the heck is this thing, man?
Yeah.
What's in it?"
Yeah.
They're waiting for us to pull the hood off and see what's going on.
Yeah,
they're like, it was just shocking because we've got, you got 20 cars out there, and 19 of them are Chevrolets.
Yeah,
and we were the one Dodge, and so we were kind of the black sheep of the,
Yeah, we were
the
definitely
dirt
the
racing.
black.
I just dropped my car off to the chassis builder last week, and I guess they never started it up the whole time I was there. So then when I went to load it on the trailer, when I got there, I started it, and they both just look at each other, and they're like, "What the hell?" And I pull it up, they're like, "That thing sounds good." They're like, "How big is that?" I'm like, 368. He goes, "That's too big." I'm like, "No, we can run up to 370. He goes, "I'm impressed." He goes, "That thing sounds nasty."
Yeah.
So that makes you feel pretty good always. So.
Yeah.
You could almost hear it out of a group of cars. That Dodge just has that deep,
it's a
throatier
sound.
It's just got a little.
They all sound big. They all sound like a big block compared to the rest of them.
It's got a different tone to it.
He just went over to a buddy of ours to get some bars welded on, and he was pulling it out of the trailer, and the guy goes, "Man, that thing sounds like a modified."
Sounds like a modified.
But it's just a B mod. But
yeah.
I mean, the engine, we've got some over the top headers that make it sound a little bit.
Yeah, we bought some new headers last year, and it made it sound like a totally different engine.
Yeah.
Something through.
Where'd you get them from?
Yeoman. They're actually a Schoenfeld header, but the guy that we deal with up at Yeoman Race Engine,
which is Greg Piotrowski, the guy that guessed your horsepower on your.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Greg. Yeah. We've dealt with him from pretty much day one with our Yeoman engine, and he said we was getting him back from Freshman, I think, and he said, "Hey, a lot of B-mod guys up here are running these headers, and they're making more power with it,
So next thing
ship me some." So we got it set on the way, and man, it sounds awesome with them headers on it.
Yeah, anything that builds more horsepower, we'll take it.
And that's the deal. He's from the get-go over the last 4 or 5 years. He's kind of been the motor person. He's paid for the motors, and when we first went and got that Dodge, because we've always been Chevrolet, I basically said, "I don't care what's in it as long as it'll run."
Yeah.
So and I've kind of I've got to where I like the Dodge. A lot of people ask about, "Do you like it? How is it?" And everyone thinks, they're just really expensive, huh?
Well, that's kind of the misnomer I get a lot of times is that they're real expensive to build. And in reality, I bet you I've spent a lot less than a lot of our Chevrolet guys that we raced against.
Really.
They're spending $15,000 on a B-mod engine.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the same thing. Because I asked Yeoman about doing one, and he said it was I think he said 10 grand for one. And then when I was talking to other guys, I'm like, "Yeah, it's like 10 grand to get a Mopar done." They're like, "Who's doing it?" I'm like, "Yeoman." They're like, "They're pretty good, aren't they?" I'm like, "Yeah, they win races all over." And he's like, "Well, Fletcher's here. They're charging like 15 grand for the small block Chevy." So I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
We're not even in the near ballpark of that. The Yeoman engine we have was not a new build. We didn't start from nothing buying a block. It was Greg's engine. He ran in a B-mod up there. So we bought a used motor from an employee at Yeoman, but still though, to go through it, have it freshened, and buy a motor, it's a good piece, but we just don't have near as much
Yeah.
in it as a new build on a new one for
Well,
them.
and if anybody knows anything about the Mopars, the rolling system is, it's so. For circle track racing, you get over about 5,500 RPM. Sometimes you're at risk of not surviving in terms of durability with them. But so we did have when we first got it, just like with the other one, the WCH. That was our first engine. We had some oiling issues up on the top valve train. So I took it to a local guy named Gary Stevens. He's a longtime Mopar engine builder and racer. He learned his trade from Sam Neer, which was the guy that built all the Mopars out at the fairgrounds. So they kind of went through the learning curve of figuring out how to,
How to make horsepower, but make it live.
Yeah, make horsepower, but make it live. And so we took it to him. He fixed our oiling issues on it, and it's still sitting over there. And it won a championship last year. Matter of fact,
we ran our backup motor all year last year.
The Yeoman, we won the championship in
year before
2021.
21, we won a championship with a Yeoman motor.
Yeah, so but oiling modifications I think are important at the definitely up around the 7,000 RPM range that we twisted. We learned our lesson. Bought an engine that was it was built out of Texas. It had all good parts, and I do mean good stuff from top to bottom. One thing it didn't have was any oiling modifications, and after about 40 laps, we grenaded it. Sucked the oil pan dry, locked the oil pump up, intermediate shaft snap, and number 3 rod went boom. But we've kind of learned our lesson on that, making sure that we got the oiling right on these things.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because a lot of people like Forrest Wemkin, he's been on, and I raced his car last year. Forrest, he throws this thing together, and he goes out there and runs it for seasons and seasons. He's like, you don't need to do any of that shit. And then you talk to someone like you, and they're like, if you don't do it, it's gonna blow up. So it's I don't know. It seems like luck of the draw with some people. Some people get lucky, or
Well,
I don't know.
Well, I say it's all about the RPM scale and how long you're there at that RPM. I know with ours, the one time that we bought one that didn't have any oil modifications. I don't know if you've heard of the mechanless oil mods, but because everybody kind of does it different. But we had some oiling issues with the Yeoman at first. We took it back to Greg, and he fixed it. And then we got it fresh, and it came back. We had the same oiling issue, low oil pressure issue with it. We went out and won the A feature with it that night, but the oil pressure, the
oil light was flickering, and that wasn't normal for that engine.
Yeah, for that engine. So we took it back to him, and he corrected it and fixed it.
Yeah.
Because we're not used to seeing the oil light come on. That's a no good thing. Even at low idle, I know they say 1,000. What is it? 10 pounds per 1,000 RPM, but
10 per 1,000.
Yeah, I was like, no, I don't like that. Too much money involved.
Yeah.
But so
mine sits at like 60 pounds, and I got like a high volume pump in it. But mine was just a blockhead laying around, so I don't have any oiling mods. So I might be able to attest to you grenading one without doing it. So
well, you never know. Like you say, Forrest. I know he. I'd asked him many times about it. And he said he didn't do any oiling mods, but he had also, I think he told me, I don't know where he turns his RPMs, 5,500 to 5,800 range. I don't know if he gets even up.
He's when he had his quick change in it, he was turning $7,000, and then when he switched to the 10 volt, we are turning like 6,500 with it.
Okay. Well, maybe it is just the luck of the draw, but I don't know. It's too much money to gamble with, so I got one over. I've got an engine that I had bought. It had stock heads on it, with the shaft rockers, and we ran it twice. Hell, we almost won a feature with it. He ran second with it
the first night
out, and we ran third with it the following time we took it out. But it overheated, and it had some bent valves in it, according to the engine build Gary Stevens when he took it apart. So, but the main reason that we didn't want to run the stock heads is because the holes for mounting the pulleys and everything, the EQ heads have all the bolts necessary.
For like the power steering pump
and all that
pump
and all that.
The options to bolt them up. for the setup that we run, I
Yeah.
guess. You know.
Yeah, I had to
Do you
run
have a KRC?
yeah. We
Yes.
run KRC.
Everything's KRC.
My KRC power steering pump, it mounts to the bottom two bolts on the timing cover, and then it has one for, because on the Magnum blocks, there's one bolt behind the two on the timing cover, but the LA blocks don't have that. So I just have the two on the timing cover right now.
We need to show you ours. There's actually the engine that he talked about that we bought.
That blowed
good
up.
pieces that blowed up.
Yeah.
Had some really trick custom made stuff, and remember that it's got an aluminum block, like a big spacer someone made, that bolts to the head, and then stacked onto that is the power steering pump that bolts onto it separately.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool little deal. So you'd have to see it. I'd have to show it to you.
Now the KRC mount that you're talking about, we have that as well. And we used to, we had ran it on that other engine with V pulleys and so forth, where it mounts down towards the bottom. But now we're up towards.
Yeah, we didn't actually even. I thought we didn't have it. I called my daughter. Hey, sorry, we were doing a podcast. See, power steering pump, it mounts to the bottom two bolts on the timing cover, and then it has one for, because on the Magnum blocks, there's one bolt behind the two on the timing cover, but the LA blocks don't have that. So I just have the two on the timing cover right now.
We need to show you ours. There's actually the engine that he talked about that we bought.
That blowed
good
up.
pieces that blowed up.
Yeah.
Had some really trick custom made stuff, and remember that it's got an aluminum block, like a big spacer someone made, that bolts to the head, and then stacked onto that is the power steering pump that bolts onto it separately. Yeah. It's a pretty cool little deal. So you'd have to see it. I'd have to show it to you.
Now the KRC mount that you're talking about, we have that as well. And we used to, we had ran it on that other engine with V pulleys and so forth, where it mounts down towards the bottom. But now we're up towards the top. Like you said, it's just like a fabricated aluminum block that it matches the head cutout, and it just mounts right to the front of it. So we.
Yeah, I guess. Well, if we go back a little bit, when we sold the modified in 2018, we ran the Southern Sport Mod with the Dodges for what, 3 years, 4? And so the car that we told you we got back, it went to Kansas. It was running at Caney Valley,
Caney Valley
as a B mod. Someone converted it to a B mod, ran it at Caney the last 3 seasons, and it popped up for sale, and Donald had seen it. So
I seen it. I recognized it.
Yeah, it just circled back around. We sold it as an A mod. It went to Kansas. They ran it as a B mod, and it was just perfect to buy it back already set up as a B mod, because that was the direction we was going anyways with it. But.
Yeah, I mean, because the Southerns kind of came in up here, but they only came up to about probably our track in terms of we're about midway. We're west of Oklahoma City, or east of Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And so, but if you go up towards Tulsa area and out east, everything is B mod stuff. Mm-hmm. And so we thought we might want to,
I guess we're kind of central to it.
Yeah, we're kind of central.
But the last 2 years, though, they are allowing the B mods and Southerns joining as one class.
Yeah.
So
matter of fact, our last race, a Northern won, a Southern ran second, and we ran third, and a B mod.
So a Northern, Southern, and a B mod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're a lot closer. Like, I know the guys down here, they want to bitch and moan. They don't want B mods like down here at all. But
we was
yeah.
When we had the Southern, the B mod showed up, we'd get mad because they drive different.
Yeah.
You start looking at them as, at Meeker, we run a little quarter mile. You start putting it into lap times and stuff. Yeah, they're very equal, but they drive totally different.
Yeah.
So
they would diamond off the track, and the Southerns, it was more of a straight line around the corner, so you'd have to adjust to their driving style, because they'd be diamond in the corner off and then diving down.
B-mods might be a little more hung out through the corner, or set different, when a B-mods or the Southerns might stay a little more square. So you've got 2 cars racing with each other that are checking up for each other because they're totally different to get through the middle, So, and it's been that way, though, from the get-go. I'm just on the other side of it now. I'm in the B-mod pissing off the Southerns,
Yeah.
So
do you like the B mod better than the Southern? Or?
Oh, I love it, man. It's okay. Going from racing modifieds for over 10 years as A-mods, getting in the Southern, and we had a lot of fun in the Southern.
Yeah.
But getting back into this B-mod just kind of has that modified feel, the way it drives. It's just funner to me. I've just had more fun.
It gives you more options for adjustments. I mean, it's easier to change shocks. You can change bar angle.
Everything's external. You don't have the stock mounted shocks that go up through the springs and.
Yeah, and then really the Southern, the only thing, the bushings is what you could change to try to gain forward bite and that kind of thing. And they run good. They do.
They're good, but the B-mod's just been a lot less maintenance, honestly. Chassis wise, it's been a lot less maintenance than the Southern for us.
Yeah, because I know Forrest, he built that B-mod, and then he went out there to Amarillo, and he said it was awesome. He could just like hold it wide open. He said it felt so much more fun than limited, and that's with the exact same engine in it. And he just said it was like night and day. It felt so much, and it looked awesome. Like it looks like a race car. It doesn't.
Yeah,
and that's the same thing we did though. I mean, we went from running Southerns, just getting rid of the Southern chassis, bringing in a B-mod chassis, and we're running the same engines. That's the same motor we ran in our Southerns. Nothing's changed. I mean, other than we've got the RPM rule,
Well, the transmission.
And the transmission.
Yeah, we went to the Falcon racing transmission. Other than that, everything.
With a quick change,
no
the
clutch.
Southerns allow that now.
Yeah, we got a quick change.
Yeah, so I'm IMCA, so we're not allowed to have anything. We got to have all the GM stuff. So
right. Yeah, we're USRA, but yeah, we've got the we don't have to run the clutch anymore. No throwout bearing or what is it? Pilot bearing and all that other stuff.
Heavy flywheel, 10.5-inch clutch is gone. The heavy Saginaw, it's.
Well, that's what sucks about the Mopar too. Is like you can. When I bought my car, I had a Chevy in it. I pulled the flywheel out, and it was like 8 pounds. I found the lightest one you could get for a Mopar, and it's like 21 pounds.
Oh yeah.
Oh, ours takes 2 people to put it on.
We've got one that if you drop it on your foot, you're probably going to cut off some toes. That's how heavy it was. But now we just got a flex plate because with the racing transmission and not a clutch, it's like the rotating mass on the crankshaft is nothing in comparison.
That makes a difference too.
Oh, it does.
The way the engines rev, and
the way they rev, how quick.
Just the power you're putting to the, to the tires is you're gaining. You don't have so much. Rotating weight, Saginaw and.
Yeah, I mean it's over 2 times the weight with just the flywheel going to the Mopar. So you're just steady disadvantage with a lot of the Mopar stuff.
Yeah, we noticed that first flywheel we had, and we still got it. I think it's out here in the.
And I think we did get a lighter weight one after that. That was something a little lighter, and I mean we could notice the difference.
Yeah, but the original one that we bought, it was
awful.
I mean, it was one of those things you knew, boy, don't drop this on your foot. You ain't gonna be walking for days. But so we I've got that other engine. Gary's got it. It's going to be a Frankenstein engine. It was the heads off the one that blowed up. But we run the EQs, the New Zealand, as you call them. They don't have the freeze plug in the front of the head, so.
And those heads, like when you just look at them, they look awesome. Like the ports are so smooth, the casting's so nice compared to like any factory stuff. Like it's amazing how nice of a head they are, and they're like really cheap when you could still get them. I think they used to be like $500 if you look in like the old Mopar magazines.
Right.
They're like really cheap for what they were.
They seem like they've been, I guess, the best kind of head for this class. Even in the Chevrolets are running a lot of EQ heads.
Yeah, that's what was on my Chevy too, was a EQ head.
Yeah, it was ironic. I don't remember if Kyle remembers, but before we went to get that Mopar, we were almost going to buy a Chevrolet off of a guy that actually sold the modified stuff for him, and we didn't end up doing it. It's probably a good thing because it blowed up first time out down there.
It was just one of them deals.
It was one of those
deals. Else bought it and it grenaded.
Grenaded first race out. So we were kind of glad we didn't buy that one. But
and the deal with the Mopar too, what's helped us a lot, that our first season was just figuring it out.
Yeah.
Just, nonstop problem after problem, fix something, new problem. But what helped us a lot was having Gary, a Mopar guy that had a lot of background with Mopars. and dirt racing, his experience, I mean, really, that's what got us going and in the right direction.
Yeah.
Was just having someone that had the knowledge, from
and we didn't have. I mean, other than the one that blew up, we really
We've
haven't
had
had
good
a
luck.
lot. Yeah, we've had good luck, reliability out of it. I mean, our ignition issues we've had, as of recent, we've had in the past, of course, that's a GM distributor, that we're running.
We got a bunch
Yeah.
of Chevrolet parts on a Dodge.
Yeah.
But we have to run the roller tip rockers that we run on it, or a Chevrolet
We
style.
do. I know there's a rule with you can run a roller rocker, but you got to run a different valve spring or something like that.
That's USRA.
As a USRA deal with the B mods, you can
Okay.
run a roller rocker, but you have to run a certain
Valve spring.
And be honest with you, I'm not going to lie that I know exactly what it is. We've just kept ours the same and haven't looked into it. But there is another rule with valve train with roller rocker arms.
I guess we're at 120 seat pressure, on the valve springs it's about 120.
It's close to that.
Yeah, 120.
Yeah, I don't even remember what mine are. So I just did it too. I should know, but I'm at I think it's like 308 open and I think like 120 closed. I think.
Yeah, in the past when he's checked valve spring pressure. It's been around 120.
Yeah. And I guess with you being IMCA, you have a compression rule too, don't you?
Cranking compression, not a compression ratio. So we got to be 175 cranking.
Yeah.
All our motors are built to be in those spec rules too, So that's with us with this motor, we're under that. So.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's dumb because you can just call any camshaft manufacturer and be like, yeah, hang the exhaust valve open a little longer, and then you get rid of you have 13-1 and still pass the 175 cranking compression rule.
Yeah.
So
there's always ways around something. And somebody's going to do it. And if you don't, you're behind times, It's like you always got to try to get the edge with something. There's always.
Yeah. I mean, I think, for us, for the most part, I think, we're pretty competitive with our engine. I know that there's guys out there that's got us beat on horsepower.
Yeah.
But I think it's made up in Kyle's driving and chassis setup. He's come a long way in the chassis setup side of it. Back in the day, it was his dad and Chet setting it up, and there was a transition when I was setting them up, and then Russ. And
I was a kid. I just drove it.
He just drove it. He just showed up, got in the seat. But now he's learning that side of it as well, and so now he knows what he wants in a race car and what it should feel like. But I mean, overall, that old car is pretty fast. When we show up to the track, we went to Arrowhead Speedway. I don't know if you've heard about that out in Silent Springs. Big fancy track they built, put a lot of money into. It used to be not so fancy, but the guys spent a lot of money on it. And there's a lot of cars that show up there, and so we decided to venture up there, thinking we was going to be early night to the grandstands, drinking cold beer, watching some good B-mod racing. And we went out, and
we showed up. There was
55
or 58 B-mods showed up. And I'm talking the fastest B-mods from Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma. I mean, big name stuff. And we went out in Heat 7, and I knew, I was like, I got to drive the wheels off this thing.
That ought to tell you something, Heat 7, and I think there was like 10 heats,
Outside pole, and man, I won Heat. I won it. I won Heat 7.
Yeah.
Locked us into the top 6 pole dash.
We ran third in the pole dash.
Here I was outside pole lining up for the pole dash. Looked to my left, and I've got
was it 2 car?
J2 car. Chris Jackson is on the pole of this
one of the fastest.
And I mean, he's
he actually won it that night. He's one of the fastest guys that runs.
And we had Cody King, just some big B-mod guys from around, and anyways, I ran third out of 6 in that. It locked us in to start on the front row of a $2,000 to win 25 lap B-mod show that I don't know. We just
first time there with our old.
Never raced there before.
Yeah,
and
our old 2008 Dirtworks with our old Mopar on a flat trailer, and so we went to Longdale, ran pretty good there.
We ended up 6th that night, by the way. We started on the pole.
Yeah.
Car was tight. I was kind of stuck up on the top. It was tight for a few laps. I finally got in a position and figured it out. By that time, we had dropped a little bit, but we maintained. Yeah. I mean, we maintained and ran 6 for. We ran fifth for a lot of it.
Yeah.
I think we dropped to sixth with a couple to go, but a 25 lap main that was just hammered down.
And then we realized that the left shock was the bolt was totally broke off. It was just dangling.
Yeah.
So we don't know at what point the shock bolt broke, but
it was a win for us to run sixth out of 50 something B mods with our 2008 Dirtworks car. They're just not heard of that much anymore, and never been updated. I think the rear end got reclipped.
Yeah,
when
the
it was
rear
in
end's been
Caney.
reclipped, because it had gotten in a wreck. But the front end's still the stock geometry that came out come from Dirtworks, so it hasn't been corrected or anything.
Pretty much, I just joke, say I got to drive it twice as hard as the guys with
the big
newer
money
stuff.
guys with the brand new stuff.
It don't matter. Racing's racing to me, but I jokingly say I got to drive this old turd twice as hard as everybody else. But
it was kind of funny. Friday night,
we have fun.
We were sitting in staging, and he was sitting behind the eventual Saturday night winner in the Northern Spark Mod from Nebraska, and it said 2024 Jet Mod, brand spanking new. Maiden voyage,
brand new chassis.
Yeah, so I told Kyle, I said, you be the first one to put a little scratch on it on your way by. And he did too. He did too.
I ended up getting him in the bumper down the straightaway a couple of times. And the next night in the feature, we were in top 3 in the tech in the infield. And I went up to, he's a really nice, easygoing guy. I said, hey, man, I said, sorry about scratching that brand new bumper. And he just laughed and said, hey, man, it's good. It's racing.
Yeah.
But
I already crushed the nose on my car pulling it up on the trailer to take it to the dyno. So
we've done that
before we even got it out there.
Tear the plastic up on the nose that's loading it on the trailer.
Which now I sent you the picture of the new trailer.
We got it enclosed finally. We had one a long time ago. I didn't have a truck to pull it, and we sold it 6-7 years ago, and we borrowed one from a buddy and realized how nice it was, and we missed it. So the goal's been to get one.
Except for the tire blowouts. We used to be on the side of the road changing tires every time we went out in the enclosed trailer. So I'm hoping that's not the same scenario with this one. But the only thing I would say is he went and bought a Chevrolet to pull it. I'm not real happy about that, but what can I say? We still got the old Dodge over here in case we need it.
Yeah, in case he didn't haul all 3 of them, huh?
Yeah. I'd hate pulling up there with that Duramax now. You know what I mean? It's I rather listen to the rattling of the Cummins than I would
I just got a 4-door one, so I can actually put like my suit in, because I had a single cab long bed and an open trailer, so I didn't have any dry storage to put anything if it rained. So I went and got a 4-door Cummins now. It's 6.7, but so now we got a little room in there to throw my driving suit in the back seat if it rains or something like that. But what I really want for a trailer is those. Have you seen those ones that they're half enclosed, half open?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we've been looking at. So.
Yeah, so we're kind of stepping it up a little bit. I reserved us a spot so down front, so we don't have to carry the tires so far. I'm getting too old for all that tire carrying stuff.
This old man
doesn't have to walk as far.
Yeah.
So I reserved.
I don't think Abilene does reserve.
Yeah.
So, but I usually just park out by myself, anyways.
Yeah, so we're going to start the season. The actual regular point season starts next Friday, or the 5th, right? Friday the 5th. So we won the championship in 2021 in the Southern, and then we won it last year in the B mod. So
you know how many wins you have with just the Mopar in it?
Let's see.
I know all together, but
what do we got? 4?
Hold on a minute. Let me do a little math.
Yeah, I'm letting him do the math. But what's ironic about the 2021? The guy that we outrun that night, we ran second in the A feature, and he ran third. We beat him by 1 point. He was the other Mopar, the only other Mopar out there. So Mopar 1-2 for the point season. So
does he still race?
Unfortunately, he blowed his up. So I'm not sure if he's going to be back out there or not. But he did blow his up down at Lawton. His name was Jason Miller. You may have seen his car down there. It was a 21 car, I believe. But so I'm not sure if he's going to go back Mopar or if he's going to go back to Chevrolet or not. But
yeah, there's a guy who ran a modified at Lawton with a Mopar too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know who you're talking about. I think it's Whitson's, I believe, is their name. The dad drives the dad drives one of them. I think he runs a 340. His son, I don't know if he still runs a Mopar or not in the car, but I know his dad's hardcore Mopar because we went down there one time and his dad came over to the car immediately and he seen the big M on the front. So
Yeah, it's definitely an attraction to Mopar, guys. You can smell it
yeah.
before you can see it, I think.
So what is it?
I want to say we've won like 6 or 7 with the Dodge,
6 or 7 A
maybe.
features.
Yeah, with the Dodge since we've had the
and
Southern.
2 championships.
Yeah.
So we do all right with it.
Yeah, it's pretty
A lot
good
of heat
haul.
rate. Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
hoping to crack the top 5 this year. That's my goal for this year. But I'm doing my own engine thing, switching to a different brand. Second season ever in a rear-wheel drive car, so and
Yeah.
learning how to set it all up.
You got a little learning curve, but uh, you ran the neons right back in New York.
Oh yeah, we were in. My dad's been doing it for over 20 years now, so
Yeah.
he has he's probably like 60, 70 feature wins with his.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's a
He,
lot.
yeah, he's won a ton. So, and now it's like the Hondas are really taking. Well, there was always Hondas, but now they have that K series one, and that's like a whole nother animal. And
Right.
I went back like last year or 2 years ago, and it's all the Hondas, the K series, and the Ecotechs. And we pulled my car back out for me to race, and it was a Wednesday night show. It was like $1,000 a win for a 4-cylinder race. And I went out there, it was spitting and sputtering in the corners. I beat them all by half a track. So
Had a
the
little
neon
traction
still,
control going on there, huh? No, we know
the,
what you're talking about. Saturday night, the last race, ours was spitting and sputtering down the straightaway too, but we still ran third
From lap 1.
from
It
lap
just
one.
wasn't
Yeah,
running right. And just pushed it because I knew it was an electrical issue and just thought, I guess I'll just go
yeah,
till it quits. Checks come out.
yeah.
yeah.
So,
So yeah, I heard it pop on the video when he
yeah.
was rolling in. There's a video, but hopefully we've got it fixed. We changed just about everything on it, so
Mhm.
I'm hoping we got the electrical problems worked out.
And you had a Davis in it, right? For a distributor?
We did it one
We did it
time,
one
and then
time.
it got pieced together with
Yeah,
a
we went.
different module. And
Yeah, we went through a few, the modules and coils in them and so forth. I don't know if you've priced a Davis Unified for a Mopar lately, but it's expensive. I think
Yeah, I just got one. I got a brand new one in my car. It's sitting in my house for a while, and then I finally got it in there.
400, 450.
it had to be at least 450.
I couldn't even
Yeah,
tell you. I try to forget about the stuff that I buy.
Yeah,
I don't
I
want to be
said
remind
that.
myself of it.
that's
Well,
what he always says. We can't talk about the money.
yeah, if you talk about the money, you take the fun out of it.
Yeah.
So, but I think I bought the original one in 2018.
Yeah, it was when we first
Yeah.
started. Very first.
It was probably about $299 for the distributor and a set of live wire plug wires. So, but I know they've gone up since then. But this time we went with Pertronics coil and module. So we're going to see how that works out. I know I put a Pertronics igniter back on my old RV once. It had a set of points and condenser in it, and so I've had some dealings with
that
the
flamethrower
flame.
stuff, I guess.
Yeah, they call it flamethrower.
Yeah,
Hopefully that's not a
Oh,
bad sign.
so you have an external coil now on it, or
No, no, no.
it's
You can actually get
it's HEI.
HEI.
oh
They
okay.
make HEI components just like
Yeah.
the Davis Unified. You can buy just the coil and the
And their Dynamod
Dynamodule.
is
Yeah,
the module. The parts they put into theirs.
yeah,
And we
Okay.
just so we have it's still HEI. It's all Chevrolet cap, rotor,
yeah.
module, everything Chevrolet.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
they
Yeah,
even have the they even have the
that's
same
what
fire.
people have brought up to me before.
Yeah,
Is like, well, what are you going to do if you need a distributor? I'm like, I just go over to anyone next to me in the pits and ask for the stuff that goes inside. It's all the same
yeah,
stuff. For
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just the shaft that's
Yeah,
different, pretty much.
the shaft is different, in the way the Chevrolet.
yeah, I mean,
Uh,
if you bust the shaft off in a distributor, you're having one hell of a night. You might as well pack it up
yeah,
and go
you may
home.
as well
So
pack it up. Yeah, you may as well. Yeah, we got a couple old 360 blocks over here, LA blocks that I bought from a guy. He brought them from California for me. So they're, you know how hard they're getting to find.
We'll do a couple videos when this is done. I'll do
Yep.
some videos of some blocks in the floor, and we'll walk around with a race car and the engine and stuff, and send you a couple clips you can put and
So
do
you
some
can
stuff.
put it all
He's
in.
talking
Yeah,
to
I think
feature. I about 2-3 years ago, I kind of tried to do the math on some of the feature wins that I've had over the years of racing, and I think I'm right on. But if we win the feature tomorrow night, I believe it'll be my 30th A feature win. So,
holy shit.
and I mean, all of those have been in modified Southern Sport Mod and B Mod. You know, nothing else. And we've had some years off. I mean,
Yeah.
we've had
Yeah.
some years off that we haven't raced at all. Over the years too. But
Yeah, I'm
so
having my first kid in the middle of the race season, so in
Oh,
July. So I don't know if
yeah.
congratulations,
I'll be able to finish it out.
congratulations on the kid and not racing as much.
Yeah. She'll save
Yeah,
money.
yeah,
Well,
thank
maybe
you.
you might save some money. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
there's
kids,
nothing with saving money with kids or
race cars.
racing or
Yeah.
any hobbies really.
Yeah, that's
Everything's
true.
so expensive. You get into it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the worst part is they don't come out ready to drive a race car. So I still got to suck driving until my kid's good enough to take over for me. Then I can focus on just setting the car up.
Yeah,
Well, we have a Kyle's nephew, his sister's boy. We call him Little O,
yeah.
and he looks just like his dad. I mean, he's just like little Ricky all over again. And he started in a little bitty car.
Yeah, he's running like the go-kart stuff. So he started off in a yard cart last year, and this year he's kind of moved up, got him a little nicer cart. He's running a junior one. So he's running go-karts right now. So he's getting a little taste of it. And
Yeah, they just opened up a go kart track in Abilene, but like in Texas, circle track racing just really isn't like I'm from New York, so like circle track is huge in New York. There's tracks everywhere you go. Pretty much every county New York has one. So
well,
down here it's 3 hours to the next track or 4 hours to the next track.
Well, unfortunately, as you know, urban sprawl has happened everywhere, and it when urban sprawl happens and people move around and get into these near the tracks, the noise bothers them and they don't want them around no more. So the politics steps in. Next thing you know, before you know it, they're closing them down and tearing them down. My first track ever, I think I was in 1977. I was probably about, I don't know, 10 or 11 years old.
40.
No, I was probably 10 or 11. Uh, uh, anyway, we go to Manzanita Speedway in Phoenix, Arizona. It used to be an old dog track. It had a quarter mile and a half mile. And they've since tore it down, and same thing, noise or urban sprawl. They want to build businesses or houses or something. So I think everybody's going to be fighting that in the future in terms of racing, whether or not we'll have a place to race.
And we're pretty central here, though, out of Shawnee. Our home track's 20 minutes from us.
Yep.
But we can drive anywhere from an hour and a half to 2.5 hours and hit about 6 racetracks from here.
Yeah, so what
Oh.
me and my woman were actually thinking when she gets out of the Air Force, we want to move to Oklahoma just because I mean, there's just more Mopar stuff there in general than down here, and there's just way more racing there in
Yeah.
general. And you guys have trees, so that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of it, even down there towards Texas where you're talking about, I mean, Ardmore's a really nice facility.
Yeah.
And so you've got Ardmore, Longdale, Elk City,
Yeah.
Enid's running. You start going up north when we were talking about more of the B mod stuff than down south is you got Salina High Banks.
Tulsa.
They got a Tulsa Speedway. Outlaw Motor Speedway in Muskogee's opening. And then they also have the old, what they call it, the historic half mile.
Yeah.
The Thunderbird Speedway, it's a big half mile track.
Yeah, they're running tonight. They're running sprint cars there, matter of fact.
Arrowhead Speedway.
Arrowhead. It's kind of almost to Silent Springs, Arkansas, but it's still in Oklahoma, I think, technically.
It is.
And then he was telling me about in the panhandle of Oklahoma in Beaver County, they're supposedly building a racetrack.
It's
up
there.
in no man's
it's
land.
already there. Yeah.
Yeah, so there
I
ain't
didn't
nothing there.
start that
It'd be a perfect
before.
place to set one up.
I seen it on Facebook that the guys, not sure, but I think the guys that are promoting and running the Enid Speedway is doing the same thing up in Beaver with that track. I never even knew there was a track in Beaver until I seen it posted the other day. They posted a little clip with a couple late models running around it, and I thought, well, that's pretty cool. Then I mapped it, and it was 4.5 hours. I'm like, it's not real cool now.
Yeah,
it's just a long haul for us. 4.5 hours.
Our current track owner that owns the track here in Meeker, which is actually in between Meeker and Sparks, or Meeker and Chandler, he was actually looking to move it back to the Oklahoma City area, but lawyers and politicians got involved and blocked it. So there probably won't ever be any racing in Oklahoma City. I say that they've got a small little junior track that they run, I-44 Speedway.
Yeah, it's been there for a long time.
Yeah,
it's more for like micro sprint stuff. No big
Oh,
cars going on. I believe they started running tuners there though. The front wheel drive cars though are running on it. Is new to the track, but mainly it's just all micro stuff.
okay. Yeah, I think the only thing that's like saving Abilene, because Abilene's like right outside the city, like 2-3 miles from, like it's 2-3 miles from my house, and it's like 2-3 miles right outside the city. But luckily, right behind them, there's an Air Force base with B-1s taking off and doing engine tests all night long. So I think that's the only thing that's saving Abilene, because I don't know how you could bitch about a racetrack when there's a B-1 that rattles your house. So
well, I work in the water treatment field, and it's always ironic that people buy $500,000 homes right next to a sewage treatment facility and then complain about the smell. Got to go somewhere, right? Somebody didn't do the research, but they buy the home and then they complain. It's like, hey, so I don't know, a little racing, 2 or 3 nights, or 2 or 3 hours a night to me just doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but to some people it is.
yeah, I know my home track back in New York. It was like a trooper or something bought the house right across from the track, and she was complaining to the town judge. The town judge's son has raced at that track all his life, and his grandson still races there to this day. And he's like, "Yeah, that sucks. You should have done a little research before you bought the house."
Yeah.
So up north, is that going to be big block center steer modifieds?
Yeah, so I actually ran a Northeastern like center steer before for like one race in a junior class, and like I ran one lap, got the left rear cut down, and went back out there. I had the fastest lap time out of the juniors, or it's like the beginner class, but it's the same car. Like most people, their kid would run it in the juniors, and then they'd take it out for that. So like that's kind of what got me into getting a sport mod, because I was like kind of cocky about it. I'm like, I went out there and I ran the fastest lap out of everyone out there first night out in it. But their right rear tire is this big on a 602 crate engine. So it's making the same horsepower as these, and it's got 3.5 as much time tires on the ground and way more suspension. And
That's always been the challenge though with the modified sport mod. I say that sport mod stuff. When we ran the A mod stuff, you're 600, 650 plus horse. The whole thing was always to get it to hook up on an 8-inch tire.
Yep.
That was always the challenge to make that work with that. But
yeah, it's the guys that can do that. They're pretty fast. But yeah, well, yeah, we I don't know how many more years we'll be doing it, but we're gonna go at it another year and see if we can't wreak havoc. Hopefully, you never know. Maybe another championship. Two in a row.
Then we'll sell it and get 2 Dodge Neons, and we'll both go out there and run some front wheel drive stuff.
yeah, I can set up a neon. So if you guys need help with that, I can hook you up with that.
We might need your help. I don't know how the neons are getting hard to find though. So
yeah,
I don't know what they've got a new what they call the Hornet. Maybe we can.
Yeah, they got a front wheel drive class they run here at the home track. That's
well up north they've been.
There's a neon out
There's
there.
Stratus,
Grand
neon,
Ams, whatever front wheel
Yeah,
drive.
the neons up north they've all been gone for 20 years now. They've all been rotted out. But my dad, he loves them so much he goes down south to get them. He's a connoisseur of them. I think he's got 14 or 15 in his backyard.
Right.
Oh wow!
I think the Ecos are the dominant class, or the Ecotech Pontiac engines.
It seems like we see a lot of. I say Sunfire.
Cavaliers.
Cavalier is what I was trying to think of.
Yeah. That's what's big here in Abilene. But there's a guy with a neon. He shows up every once in a while. He'll show up at like the icebreakers and stuff, and he can drive from the back to the front, and his left rear is hanging all the way around the track, and he will
Yeah.
find his way to the front every time he comes. He wins.
Well, we're a left front kind of car. Ours is it tripods a lot. I call it.
Mm-hmm.
That left front's hardly ever on the ground.
And
Yeah,
usually it's
I
when
was
it's
pretty
working.
excited about that going to rear wheel drive. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna carry the left front and be fun. And then I get in a sport mod, and you never see it. It's like, no, 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 you want to keep your left front planted. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
damn, that takes the fun out of it.
So you're gonna be when's your first race?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay. Well, good luck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just putting some block sealer on it before we get in here because my deck's cracked. Every bolt hole in the head bolt has a crack across
Oh,
it. So
well, hopefully Hopefully she'll keep the water in it.
Damn.
yeah,
Uh,
I went and bought ARP studs and I put some pipe dope on it. I'm like, please hold together. So that's why I'm not too worried about doing the oil in mine. So that one, I'm like, this thing's on its last legs. If it's junk either way. Either I can completely destroy it or I can just throw it away the way it is. So I might as well have some fun with it.
well, hopefully it'll stay together. Is Forrest running tomorrow with you?
No, he's gonna come down and help me out though. But
Okay.
he said he can't fit in his limited that he got. He said he's too big for it.
He,
Hey,
we hauled down to
I
Lawton.
understand his problem.
We went down and ran Lawton a couple years ago, and Donald had actually somehow met Forrest
Yeah.
through something. And anyways, Forrest ran the same night we did, and we pitted with each other and stuff. And that was the time I got to meet Forrest. Stuff. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
But man,
Oh,
I
he-
never actually
nicer guy.
met him. I
was
just
you not down that night?
no, I didn't come that
He
night.
didn't come down that night,
I was
so
on call at work, but
Yeah.
I'd been talking to him, but I didn't actually make it down, and so I hadn't never actually met him in person. But he seems like a real nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like he likes to
Yeah.
help in whatever way
He
can.
likes to build his own stuff as much as he can.
Yeah, he did tell me.
I felt like I gathered that he don't like buying stuff. He just likes building.
He did
it.
tell me he likes to build the cheapest mopar that he can build, and because I told him, well, if you can make it live and it does what you want it to do, but we tend to spend a little more money to try to, we go out there, we want to compete, we want to race to win, and so we spend a little money, but I know there's a lot of people that spend a lot more.
He's super creative. Like if you look at his car, you'd be looking at it, you'd be like, what the hell is this? Like it was like his body mount, and he's like, it's a big truck airline. I'm like, that's a good idea. Like I can't believe no one used it because it's flexible and it's stiff enough to hold the body out, and it's super cheap. So I'm like, damn, that's a really good idea. So he has tons of ideas. So it's crazy the stuff that he comes up with, but it works. I mean, I did better in his car than I did mine, and mine I paid a bunch of money for, so and it blew up in 4 weeks. So
Well, hopefully you have a good. And where are you running tomorrow night?
Abilene.
Abilene. Okay, we'll have to look on Race Pass and
Yeah.
see how you're doing on that.
Do they do anything live down there with like the racing dirt or flow?
Last year I ran at Boyd, and they had Race on Texas. They like streamed that, but Boyd closed down this year, so I don't know if I'll run anywhere that has that. I think Waco runs Friday night, so if I end up running Waco, it'll be on that. But that's like 3 hours and 5 minutes, so that's a haul to go down there.
3 hours for you to get there? Oh wow!
And is Lubbock Boyd, or I mean Lubbock?
So Lubbock's northwest of me, and then Boyd's east of me. So, but they're the exact mileage between. So, either one I went, that's the same amount of time. But I usually went to Boyd, and then when I ran Force's car, we went up to Lubbock a couple times. But Lubbock and Boyd are they're really fun tracks. But Lubbock, that place is awesome. It's just hammered down. Like track was tacky. It was awesome. I love Lubbock.
Well, I don't. It was windy today. We got sprint cars running tomorrow. So
100-lap sprint car race.
yeah,
tomorrow.
100-lap. What is it? Fallen Hero.
Yeah.
Race tomorrow. So I don't know. We'll see. It's liable to go dry slick, but they have a tendency to work it really well when the sprint cars show up. So hopefully we'll have a good tacky track. Our car works good. It works good on some dry stuff too.
Yeah.
And we're trying some different things. I'll try a few things when it goes dry and see if we can't get it a little faster.
Yep.
Yeah, Abilene's it's like glass every week, and that's not good for me. I'm no driver yet, so
Yeah.
it's
Well,
rough on me.
I told the other guy, our neighbor here, that you bought our old Sport Mod. He ran his first top five, and I don't know how many races, 4 or 5 races.
He's ran 4 or 5.
Yeah.
In it, yeah.
But I told him, I said, you go out there. I said, man, act like you got an egg under your foot. I said, don't just whiskey throttle that thing out of the corner every time. I said, you got to ease into her. And so,
he came in with his first top 5 finish.
Yep.
So he was pumped. We were happy too. It was kind of a goal. He sets goals for himself, which it's funny because he got out and he stood up on the side of the door and was like, you thought he just won
That's gonna
10
be
grand.
me if I get in the top 5.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
thought
I'm
he just
gonna be
won
doing
10 grand to
backflips off
win
the
it.
roof. I'm gonna be doing everything.
Yeah.
Hey, I remember.
We were happy for him, though.
I remember at Oklahoma City Fairgrounds on Friday nights, man, there were a lot of cars. If you made that, your goal was just to make the A feature, because it'd be 40 modifieds.
Oh, yeah, there'd be 30 plus 40 modifieds every Friday night.
Yeah, and so it was hard to even make an A feature. So I remember making my first one. I was just ecstatic. Yeah. And then I actually won a heat, outrun Kyle barely, but I did. And but you can go from a hero to zero real quick, because I remember getting knocked out on the first lap of the feature after that. So that's the way it is, racing.
Hero to zero.
Hero to zero. I got to watch the whole race from the infield. Hey, but a Dodge ran over me and went on to win the feature. So I couldn't be too bad.
Yeah. And that was in the A mods that the Dodge ran.
Yeah, back in
2006.
Well, back in the pro stock days before we even switched, there was a gentleman by the name of Sam Neer that started building the Dodge engines, and I think in like 2000 there was like 4 of the top 5 pro stocks that year were all Dodge powered, and there was a big stink. They had a big protest, and of course, you know how it was. That Friday night, they pulled 5 Dodges up on the stage and protested. The Chevrolet guys did, and then guess what? Come next Friday, there was 5 Chevrolets got pulled up on the stage, and you know how it is. Not all of them were legal on both sides, but as it turned out, it ended up being that they ended up coming with a head rule where you had to run a Brodex SVO or Mopar aluminum head. That's what kind of came out of that, that thing. But they just, Chevrolet guys were like, "There's no way. There's 5 Dodges, outrunning us, So they got to be cheating."
Mm-hmm.
That's racing no matter what it is. Someone finds something to point a finger at. It could be a sticker on the back of the car, and someone's going to bitch about something. So
So they but they went on to run some Dodges in the modifieds as well. Richard Roselle ran one. I was trying to remember who else. Mainly Richard, though. I think was one of the lone Dodge guys.
That was kind of you go back to the pro stock stuff when I was a kid.
Yeah. But modified wise, by then there wasn't as many Dodges out there. But Roselle, I think Olivier may have ran some, because remember the other night at the track he was telling me, "Hey, I got some Dodge stuff that you might be interested in." Yeah. And so, if I'm not interested in it, I thought I know a guy that might be.
I'm dumb enough to buy it, I'm sure.
So I gave him my phone number. He hasn't called me yet, but if he does and it's nothing I'm interested in, I'll dang sure turn you on to him. Because I stockhead stuff, but
I got 10 360 blocks right now, and I keep buying them every time I see them.
Yeah.
Well, you make. Hold on. I got to do a little walker. I know you said the video's crap. I'll send you another one, but let me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to flip the camera around. It ain't letting me. Just keep zooming in and out. Why's it doing that?
Oh, I don't know. I thought you had to. Where's the little circle at?
Well, hold on. Let me drag it up here.
There should be.
Heck, it won't even let me flip the camera.
Yeah, I'm not the guy to ask on that stuff.
That's no video. Well, I was going to flip the camera and show you Donald's collection, but it won't let me.
I only got 3. I've got 3 blocks. I've got the RT 408 over there.
Yeah. You ought to piece that one together and put it in a circle track car.
Well, I don't know. We talked about it before, but it would have to have all the Olin mods done to it, but we have thought about it. I mean, our buddy runs a was it a late model? Maybe we can make a yeah. They been having very much luck with engines lately though, so hopefully they got their stuff figured out. But they run Chevrolets. They don't run the Mopar. But
No.
Greg Piotrowski, the guy that builds our engine, he runs a Mopar in his late model, I think. So there's a few of them out there, but I don't know how much longer we'll be able to get parts.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of stuff stocked up in the corner of my house. I just got a crank the other day, so
Yeah,
got a
yeah.
crank in the house.
I seen you went and got a truckload of Mopar stuff. Yeah, it's
Yeah, that
We got our backup
he uh
storage.
he ran a Duster. That guy did, so
Oh, you ran a Duster, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna run them as long as we can, or until Kyle decides he wants to switch back to Chevrolet. Then I'll just load up all the old Dodge stuff, take it somewhere, and I'm sure somebody will be interested in it somewhere somehow. Maybe not,
yeah. I'll sell a couple things and I'll buy it off you.
but yeah. So that's our plan. Load it up, go out there tomorrow, and hopefully it stays running. Got our
Yeah,
ignition
that's
issue
always a good
figured
thing.
out. If it's firing on all eight, they'll see that big M coming at them. Well, no, they
Oh
won't,
yeah,
because he ripped it off. He ripped a big M off the front of it.
We got a wrap coming tomorrow.
But he's supposedly got a wrap coming tomorrow, so we can put the big M back on it.
yeah. What color is he going with?
He's keeping it a secret. I don't really
Oh,
know.
okay.
He won't
I
let me know.
actually haven't even showed him a proof of the wrap. First of all, he really, honestly, he don't give a shit
Yeah.
as long as it has an M on the
Yep.
nose. That's the only sticker
That's
he
the
cares
only sticker
about.
I care about right there.
So I haven't even told him color scheme or anything that it looks like nothing. I said you'll see it when it's unloaded out of the trailer at the track. So
Yeah. I tell him as long as it's
He don't
going across the checkered flag,